Welcome to another episode of A&N Retrospective. Today, we will hear an important message from the Communication Department of the General Conference. Plus, we will share more exciting highlights from 2022. In this last episode of 2022, we have a special message for you from the Communication Department of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists.
As this year draws to a close, we would like to say thank you for your prayers and continued support for A&N. Over the past year, it was evident that God has done great and marvelous things in His church. From baptisms and I Will Go initiatives to business meetings and humanitarian relief efforts, we have enjoyed providing you with the latest coverage of Adventist news stories from around the world.
2022 marked a significant milestone for A&N. For the first time in the history of the World Church, the 61st General Conference section experienced broader than ever media coverage. Despite pandemic restrictions and a reduced session schedule, the nearly week-long event was broadcast live for the world to watch from the comfort of their homes. The hybrid session truly became a digital-first event as our communication team was committed to bringing you live updates across the church's social media platforms. Through nearly 3,800 posts during GC session, the church's channels reached over 22 million people. During GC session, A&N produced 30-minute news programs covering each day's business meetings and news. A&N late nightish episodes were produced to help our young people understand GC session and the organization of the Adventist Church. Our writing team produced many articles that were featured on adventist.news covering session programming.
And that's not all. Did you know that our global church family is made up of over 21 million members who speak many different languages? So, to effectively communicate what mattered, we at A&N decided to take on the tremendous task of covering all business sessions, worships, and special reports in not one, but 4 languages. However, we did not stop there. Today, A&N continues to produce content in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese for all to enjoy and share.
As we welcome the new year, A&N will bring more encouraging and inspirational content for you and your family to enjoy. Our A&N website, adventist.news, will feature hundreds of articles highlighting the church's work around the world. These articles will feature how General Conference departments, GC initiatives, and other Adventist services, organizations, and corporations are moving the mission of the church forward. A&N will also continue to share news stories about what is taking place in global divisions and attached fields. And of course, A&N will also highlight remarkable baptism and evangelism stories.
Unfortunately, articles can't always get to the heart of every topic and offer a look into the depth of a story. Often, there are many more questions to answer. This is why A&N In Depth is coming back as a new video podcast to dive deeper into challenging topics impacting people all over the world. In this weekly series, we will wrestle with difficult questions and come to biblical conclusions to help listeners grow in their walk with Christ and others.
Here at A&N, we realize everyone has a story worth sharing. Because of this, we're excited to also introduce A&N Profiles. In this video podcast series, we will listen to inspiring life journeys from over 150 members of the General Conference Leadership Council, where they will open up about milestones and challenges they have experienced as church leaders. This series promises to be heartwarming and educational. This podcast is meant to mentor the future leaders of the church and inspire every listener.
Starting in 2023, you can get Adventist news straight to your email by subscribing to our weekly newsletter on adventist.news. Don't forget also ANN on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Follow for more inspirational content.
And of course, ANN Video will continue to produce weekly news episodes in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. And who knows, we may just add more. We invite you to join us in 2023 as we continue to share what God is doing through His church. We hope ANN leaves you filled with hope and inspired to share the good news with others. From all of us at the ANN, your official Adventist news source, we pray God's richest blessings upon you and your family as we enter this new year.
More than 27,000 new believers joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Mexico as comprehensive evangelism efforts culminated with a national online evangelism campaign.
The coordinated efforts engage thousands of members in spreading the message of hope and salvation found in Jesus throughout their cities, communities, and social media platforms. The online-only series drew more than 2 million people. This resulted in more than 5,000 baptisms in Mexico's 5 major church regions on the closing day of the series. Themed Esperanza Definitiva, or Ultimate Hope, the 8-day evangelistic series took place using a hybrid setup. A group of 500 individuals viewed the program in person at the Julio Glocker Lozada Auditorium in Pueblo, Mexico, while thousands more tuned into the 1-hour evening messages.
Don't go anywhere. After the break, we have more highlights from 2022.
What can geese tell us about God? Everything in nature can teach us lessons about our Creator. Here are 4 ways geese show us what God is like. Geese stay with their young, providing for them until they can do it on their own, just as God provides for our needs. Geese protect their young from danger, just as God promises to order His angels to protect you. Geese mate for life, unless one dies, just as God will never leave or forsake us. If geese are in danger, they retreat to water, just as Christians go into the waters of baptism to escape the certain death of sin and come out into new life in Christ, who freely gives the water of life. Next time you're in nature, look for things that God has created to show how much He cares for each one of us.
Let's go to Orlando, Florida, in the United States to find out what Advent Health did for the Ukrainian people.
Our efforts to help the people of Ukraine continue. We recently caught up with an Advent Health University educator who traveled to the war-torn country with his wife to personally deliver much-needed medical supplies. Here again, videographer David Maddox with their story.
Since the disaster started in Ukraine, Advent Health has really tried to respond and help.
I'm ready for it. You are ready for me. Thank you so much.
We recently had 2 people from the Orlando area.
These are the pictures of children in the orphanage.
Julia Kostyuk, as well as her husband, Dr. Oleg Kostyuk, who's a professor at Advent Health University. We're able to travel to the Ukraine and meet with the clinic that we work with over there and take some desperately needed medications.
Do you have some? This is all
This is all suture.
My wife, who is a family nurse practitioner, she was instrumental in connecting with the clinic in Ukraine and also collecting all needed supplies here.
I'll take it. Maybe they'll need it.
Before I went, I think the biggest difference, before I went on the trip, I was hurting inside.
When we got to Ukraine, we saw very many displaced people who were forced to leave their homes. We brought 7 huge and heavy suitcases.
Being able to actually take these medications and give them to the doctors, it's hard to describe in words. When they got it, they had tears in their eyes. They said, this insulin will help save lives.
Even though the tragedy of war seems distant, we still can make a difference. And to me, this is just such a direct image of our mission of extending the healing ministry of Christ.
It was a life-transforming trip. The joy that your heart is filled with is tremendous. It doesn't matter whether you're in Ukraine or Florida, we all can make a difference.
And that is just one of the efforts our team members are part of to help the people of Ukraine across the CFD. Our Picture of the Week segment takes us to Advent Health Celebration. This is what it looked like recently when team members there worked together to pack meals to help feed Ukrainian refugees. The goal going in was for them to put together an incredible 100,000 individual meals. But guess what? They went a little over that. Okay, they went a lot over that. When all was said and done, there were 200,000 meals packed and ready to send overseas. Wow, this one truly demonstrates all of our service standards. In Orlando, Tom Johnson for Advent Health.
The 61st General Conference session of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is over, but the results are still being seen online. With a digital approach to reporting, the Communication Department reported breaking social media engagement records.
With more than 80 team members collaborating from around the world, the Communication Department made this year's General Conference session accessible, engaging, and transparent for all, including those who are unable to attend in person. Daniel Bogdanov, General Conference webmaster, stated, "During the session, we had 4 teams operating around the world. In St. Louis, Missouri, in Manila, Philippines, a team of contractors in over 10 countries, and division and union communication directors. One major factor that aided in this year's communication success involved the translation of all media content. For the first time, content was created and posted on all major social media platforms and the ANN website in the following 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. The church's official news source, ANN, also featured 4 daily programs throughout the week, allowing different demographics to connect with session events through ANN In-Depth, ANN Video, and ANN Late Nightish. As a result, the official Adventist Church YouTube channel in English grew by over 20,000 subscribers. The Spanish channel subscribers doubled, the Portuguese channel tripled, and the French channel quadrupled. In addition, the church's social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, were updated in real time for followers to find the most up-to-date content, allowing transparency and helping members feel like they were there. Members of the communication team are also at work 24/7, answering all social media comments and questions while offering opportunities for prayer. As a result of the team's hard work, 3,772 posts and videos were broadcast to the world throughout the Adventist Church's official social media channels. This content was viewed over 22 million times. More than 4 million individuals engaged with this content worldwide. Alyssa Truman, Digital Evangelism Manager at the General Conference, noted, "Many members will never be able to come to a GC session. However, with this huge communication strategy, we could reach down to the local level and help bring awareness and understanding of social structure." She added, "Up until 4 years ago, I was also a local church member. I felt like I knew that I was a part of a world church family, but I still felt somewhat disconnected from it. I feel like the work done brought the world church family closer."
A group of volunteers from the Centro Universitario Adventista de Sao Paulo Adventist University Center in Guinero Cuello campus decided to use their summer vacation to build cisterns in communities in the semi-arid region of Piauí, a state in northeastern Brazil known for archaeological sites and for being one of the smallest economies in the country.
The initiative is from the Volunteering and Mission Center, which works in partnership with the Logistics Uniting Solidarity and Sustainability Institute, or LUSS, providing access to water, food, security, and economic development for thousands of vulnerable families. The Piauí mission is a short-term missionary project that is taking place for the second time on the university campus, the first time being this past January. The proposal of the ULSS Institute is for community intervention to take place in 3 stages: water, through the construction of cisterns; food security, through family and/or community gardens; and economic development, by planning activities that can generate income for the community. The leader of the missionary project, Ana Carolina de Freitas, gives more details of the cisterns project.
Our project here at Piauí Mission consists of building cisterns, which are these large water reservoirs. They have the capacity to store up to 6,000 liters of water and supply a whole family for 6 months. We participate in the whole process of creating the cistern, from stirring the mass, assembling the plates, plastering, and finally painting as well. Besides this, we also work with the community, especially with the children. We play with them, we teach them sports. We also interact with the community in general, talking to them, learning from them, and exchanging ideas. It's very good.
Let's take a break. When we return, we'll see how an Australian children's television program is inspiring many to follow Jesus.
Have you ever wondered if there was more to life? Do you have big questions with hard-to-find answers? The Discover Bible Guides are Hope Channel's free gift to you. These 26 beautifully illustrated guides cover major themes of the Bible and answer some of life's deepest questions. Visit hopebiblestudy.org or call 888-446-7388 and begin your journey to discovery today.
You might be asking, who are Seventh-day Adventists? Commonly known as Adventists, we are a Christian movement established in 1863. We have 28 fundamental beliefs and more than 20 million members. We also observe the Seventh-day Sabbath. Worldwide, we have more than 162,000 congregations. We serve countless communities with our education institutions, with 2 million students. And 198 hospitals around the world. And it's all because we love Jesus.
An innovative freight farm is making an impact as it improves access to fresh produce in a Central Florida community. Tom Johnson has the details.
This past fall, we took you to a unique farm. It is located on the Advent Health Celebration campus inside a container trailer. Back then, the crops were just planted. Now, we have an update for you. The ribbon is cut and the first crops are ready, so let's take you back inside the freight farm for an up-close look at how they do it and, more importantly, why. Videographer David Maddox shows you.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to actually see these vegetables growing. We have some butter lettuce here growing. We also have some spinach, some romaine lettuce, and some kale.
The Freight Farm project here is pretty innovative. We're the first hospital in Central Florida to have an agricultural program on their campus.
When did we get these in?
2 weeks.
The purpose of it is to be able to provide fresh leafy vegetables to our staff and to our food pantry. Each of these panels will come out and we'll have more panels behind, and we'll be able to, every week when we're fully in production, to produce 500 heads to our employees and our staff. If you look at the innovation of this, what it shows us is that you can grow large quantities of food in a very small area, and it grows very quickly because it has the lights and the hydroponic going on 24/7.
We have the red spectrum light, which is super bright, and then we also have the blue. They all grow on different schedules depending on what kind of crop product it is. Usually from seed to harvest, they're gonna look around a month or 2.
Look how green that is. The colors are so deep. Have you ever tasted fresh lettuce? I mean, really tasted fresh lettuce? It has such a lovely flavor to it.
This is 4-week spinach. So we just have a few more weeks to go, and then it'll be ready for harvest. I'm really hoping that having this project on this campus inspires everyone in Central Florida and their team members.
My big dream is that every campus would have a freight farm.
In Orlando, Tom Johnson for Advent Health.
After almost 4 years of work, the committee responsible for the new Adventist hymnal in Portuguese released the hymnal this past July. The hymnal was redesigned and rearranged to give greater prominence to the doctrinal identity of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Music forms a part of God's worship in the courts above, and we should endeavor in our songs of praise to approach as nearly as possible to the harmony of the heavenly choirs. A centennial legacy. For unforgettable songs, consecration.
Melodies to unite generations.
For heavenly sounds, inspiration. For sincere worship, surrender. To praise God, Adventist music.
"220 new hymns. A selection that highlights the 28 fundamentals beliefs. 238 hymns from Brazilian authors. Children's selections with 50 hymns.
King's Kids. This is the title of a children's program that is bringing hope to both children and adults in Australia. Adventist Mission has the story.
We started in our garage, but we kind of progressed to a studio that we've, over the last 8 years, built up and servicing us very well at the moment.
Kimberly and Robert were called by God to do media ministry for children in Australia. At the time, Kimberly started writing songs and Robert was working at Sanitarium Health Food Company. One day as Robert was working, God revealed a plan.
God spoke to me in the oven and said, "Look, you know, I've got this ministry for you guys. I want you to not just do songs, but you know, media." And he also said that this house, the house that I actually grew up in but wasn't living in at the time, was going to be the headquarters in the future. I came home and told Kimberly, and she said, "I'm not living in that house."
But they felt impressed to follow God's will. They moved in, built a studio, and now, after many challenges, run a fully operational children's media ministry. The King's Kids program began at the beginning of the pandemic. As churches closed their doors, there was a need for more children's programming. Within a week of their first brainstorming meeting, a small team recorded the first episode of King's Kids. They have continued to put out an episode every week since, focused on discipleship and based on the primary Sabbath school lesson. They've produced more than 100 episodes.
If you came to our house, you would see it's been converted into a studio. We have a control room, a studio, which is where we are at the moment. We have hundreds of puppets and lots of characters, lots of children, and a lot of people that are helping to support and be a part of this project.
Getting right to the heart of families and how we can connect them and develop their relationship with Christ. And Kimberly and Rob show that in everything they do, in the way they treat us as their staff, in the way they support us, and in the way we challenge each other to move forward with the projects that we're working on.
The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and now God has put a new project on their hearts.
The King's Kids program that we're currently producing is a real discipleship one, which is trying to make a difference to children that already know something about God. But there's a project that we're working on and developing at the moment called The Rescue, which is going to be a real evangelistic project for children and families that don't know about God, that haven't been brought up in church, that don't know about Jesus, and the only time they've heard God is in slang language. And so they're the ones that we really want to reach.
And what we'll be doing is taking the story of salvation and looking at God as the rescuer, somebody who sees us, who loves us and has a plan for us, and how throughout time He has laid out this plan to come and rescue His people. This project is something that will be available free on multiple platforms. So we're really hoping to reach out and connect with families across the world.
This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offering will help support the creation of The Rescue, a 3-season series that travels through time and focuses on different aspects of the great controversy and how God has intervened to rescue His people. There's so much behind-the-scenes work that is put into a project like this.
It's been a huge step of faith all the way through, and sometimes we're not quite sure where the next bit of funding is going to come from, where the next bit of equipment is going to come from, the extra puppets, the sets, the design, cameras, lighting. There's so much involved. So that's what we need to continue to produce high-quality kids content.
And without the help of people like yourself, that wouldn't happen as well as it does. So we need you guys, everybody, to jump in behind us and to support us with your funds, with your offerings.
Thank you for planning a generous 13th Sabbath offering this quarter that will help share the love of Jesus with kids across the South Pacific and around the world.
Thank you for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Did you know the Adventist Church has a YouTube channel where you can watch ANN Video, ANN In Depth, and plenty of other amazing videos on prophecy, health, and Bible study? Just go to YouTube and search for the Adventist Church. Make sure you click the subscribe button so you never miss a new video. And remember, leave a comment or a prayer request. We have a team dedicated to praying for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Before we say goodbye, we'll leave you with some good news from the book of Psalm, chapter 90, verse 12. It says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." That's our program for this week, and remember, you can always visit adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless you.